So we're joined from Clinton, from MCD Boots there in Clinton, Mississippi, by my friend Gina Moses, the owner and first ever black woman to own a Western store in the state of Mississippi. We thank you so much for joining us today. I've got a room full here with me at Velma Jackson High School. We're recording this for all of our entrepreneurship classes in Madison County Schools, Madison Central, Ridgeland High School, Germantown High School, the Academic Options Center, and our YouTube channel. So thank you for taking some time for us today because you're a YouTuber yourself, Life with Gina Lee.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank
Uh,
you for giving
now,
me that introduction.
oh, you're very welcome. Now, obviously, we want to talk about all the cool things, in your website and your store and all in your incredible products. But just give us a little background. You're from Raymond, went to Raymond High School, and then you haven't been open that long.
No, we actually started on my mother's porch in 2022 and been growing strong since then. And having the internet kind of catapult my business into a whole different direction has been amazing. Like you said, started out being really the first black woman owned, and I know in Mississippi, where I started in Byram. I just recently, 6 months ago, opened up in Raymond, and unfortunately had to move, and now I'm here in Clinton, Mississippi. Been here about a month and a half now, and it's just been miraculous. I've been featured in NBC News,
Yeah.
Essence Magazine, a plethora of different platforms have interviewed me, and it's just been amazing. I just got nominated as Entrepreneur of the Year.
Yeah.
Got my little plaque right here from Western Hines County Young Professionals. They have really made me feel so welcome and so loved in this community, and even for my people that have patronized me outside of Mississippi has been amazing.
Now, obviously, you said you're the first. So, where did this idea come from? Because it's not every day that you hear a black one in Mississippi say, "I'm going to go open a Western attire store." And you guys have been extremely successful. You have a great selection and really have kind of changed the narrative a little bit. So, where did this idea come from?
My father is my inspiration. He has worn cowboy boots ever since I was a little girl. So that's all I ever known him to wear is cowboy boots. So he has been my model and basically like my marketing engineer. He's gonna tell me those plastic, that's the real thing. So my father, Clarence Moses, is the reason behind this business because it was something to bond us even more because he was able to give me insight that I wouldn't normally have as someone that wasn't into Western wear, but him and some of my uncles, that's all they ever wore.
Wow. Now, obviously, you have boots, and I know, and that's even your website, mcdboots.com. So, how do you decide what selections to wear or to carry? Because I think a mistake a lot of entrepreneurs make is I'm going to sell what I like, but it's about knowing
Hmm.
your market and knowing what's going to sell. Because just because you like it doesn't mean people that are going to spend money are going to like it.
Yes, yes.
Because
I had to learn that quick.
you carry men's, women's, children's, and you have a great selection of work boots as well. So, just talk about how you decide what to carry.
I base it up on what do I see people in the community wear and what people ask me for. I have been blessed to get a lot of engagement from my different customers or potential customers to ask me, "Do you carry these?" or "Will that be something that you will carry in the future?" So I take all of that in consideration when I'm picking boots, and I look at what my father his suggestion is, as well as my husband, because he's out with me and being in trucking, and so he knows what they want and what they're looking for. So I have a lot of good support that, and just by me being an entrepreneur since I was a little girl, I've been an entrepreneur. So I'm big on being observant to my customers and what they want, what they're not buying, and I judge it on what's really selling. If this is selling a lot, I'm gonna get something similar to it and not just, go on a whim. Oh, that's what I would like, because my style may not be somebody else's style. So you have to cater to your engagement from your customers and your potential customers.
Absolutely. Now, one thing I think is interesting, because you are, even though you do have a lot of website business, you have a storefront, and you have a pretty good amount of foot traffic. And I think a big mistake, I hear a lot of young people say, "Well, I want to open a store." Okay, great, but they don't understand any of the cost involved, any of the peripheral duties that are involved, and it is something that could require a whole lot of time. So, talk about the things that you had to learn getting into a storefront that a lot of entrepreneurs may not realize.
Yes, the logistics of it. You have to think about cost. That's the your front I expense that I would say you need to look at how much that building gonna cost, how much your electricity, or whether you're gonna have to pay water or not. All that plays a factor into, you say you want a store, but will your merchandise sell quick enough to turn a profit? And a lot of people think, okay, if I get a storefront, people will come and buy. That's not necessarily the case, because I've been blessed that even when I don't have foot traffic, my website brings revenue. So you have to make sure you're not just stuck and I'm relying on foot traffic. You got to put in the work with marketing online, because we are in a generation where technology really is the steering factor of your business. So I would tell anybody, don't just look at, okay, if I give me a store, people gonna come up in there, because there's days where I don't see any customer, but I have a customer online. So you have to move with the times and make sure you're marketing to more than just your foot traffic. You need to be online and make a presence there online.
And on top of that, if you look at your marketing, you look at your videos, you have a wide array and wide variety of types of customers that are buying from you.
Yeah.
And when we get done here in a little while, they're all going to do their presentations, and I know they hate doing it, but it's all about learning sales and communication and how to talk not only to the people that work for you, but to your customers, because you can have a great
Yes.
idea, but if you can't sell it, nobody's going to buy from you. So you have a wide array of ages and colors and socioeconomic that come and shop in your store, and I think that's really great because it is a place for anybody. But how do
Yeah.
you stay on top of being able to communicate with anybody that walks in there, because they may want to buy something similar, but they're going to have to be communicated with in different ways?
I would say for me, customer service is the biggest portion of a business. If your customer service is poor, you're not going to stay in business long, because you have to be able to, like you said, communicate effectively to any type of person, whether it's the older gentleman to a child. You have to show people that you are a people person. And for me, the same way I would treat my children with love and compassion, that's the same way I do with my customers. And how I show that is, before you leave out of my store, I'm going to get a picture of you, because I want you to know that I appreciate you, and I want the world to see how I appreciate my customers. It's not about how many come up in here, but it's how I make an impact that you would say, I had a good experience when I came in here, and I want to share it with the world. And so that's how I treat my customers. And you always want to have it where people look at you and say, oh, she has good customer service, or he knew what I wanted, and he went over and beyond to make sure I was comfortable with what I purchased, because it means good to sell somebody something and then they don't have a good experience, because we know how social media work. Once they get a bad experience, they're going to broadcast it on the internet. And some things you cannot avoid. You're going to have problematic customers. That's just the way it is. But the way you mitigate it is, you do not go toe for toe with a customer. If you see that it's not going in a good direction, you ask them, I apologize, this is not working for you. Let's see if we can come to a solution. If we can't, be the bigger person and say, well, let me refer you to somebody else that may can help you. That may be a business, because I had a gentleman call me and he was looking for a size 13, and I don't have them um in the work boots. So I said, well, I don't have them. All I have is the Western style with the leather sole. So I referred him to the place in Byram. I can be a bigger person and refer them to somebody else, because at the end of the day, he gonna think about, oh, she could have just told me I don't have them and kept on going. He may come back and be a customer, or he may send somebody else. So never close the door on a potential customer.
Absolutely. And then also it's about being proactive because because I want to ask about how you decide to lay it out, but I see we see the boots, but we see the hats and we see the apparel because a proactive customer service person can make sales because you can say somebody's coming there looking for boots. Well, why don't we try this hat on you? This will look really good and these will look good together, or the whole outfit. And you can find ways to, when I was in sales, I would find ways, little words to say, well, you can get all of this together and it just costs this, and you don't
Yes.
have to make an extra trip. So, talk about some of the ways you kind of package your items because even though your focus is the boots, you also sell the apparel to complement the boots.
Yes, and that's what bring you to suggestive selling. You always want to open the door to see if they want more. And I usually keep accessories right here at the registers, because as you say, retail, we know that you put the stuff that the little whatnots at the register, because they're going to be standing there waiting to get checked out, and they're going to look around and see, well, what else can I get? So you always want to leave that door open to invite them to get a belt or a hat, and I keep all of that right here at the register so that they will see that before they leave out of here. And I keep my hats over to the right hand side so that they will see those type of things when they're getting checked out. So they will look around. It's like a whole 360. They're gonna look around. Well, let me see if I can put something else together. So I keep that in a scope of where I position my items. So the flow gonna be, you gonna look at the boots, you gonna see the clothes, you grab you some there, you gonna have you a hat, a belt, and belt buckles and wallets before you leave out of here.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, and along the same lines, one thing I think the biggest science of entrepreneurship, and I see a lot of young business owners make this mistake, is they'll have a great idea, great concept, great customer service, great marketing, but then I see their prices and I immediately say, you're not charging enough. Because I think
Mhm.
it's very easy for young people, especially to say, look, I'm 17 years old. My 16-year-old friends are going to say, this costs too much. I need to be cheaper than everybody. And that is such a huge mistake to make. So
Yeah,
obviously Clinton, Mississippi is not a Beverly Hills market, but at the same time, you want to make sure that people know that they're getting a quality product. And when it goes back to the customer service, if you have great customer service and you know that you're not selling somebody crap, that gives you the ability to charge more. So talk about how
yeah.
you decide your pricing because it is such a tough game to play.
Yes, and that is very important when you pricing things. You want to be competitive, but you don't want to overcharge and you don't want to undercharge. So you really have to do your market research. Who are your target audience, and what are you trying to accomplish? Because you don't want to charge, like you said, too low, and then you're not even covering your minimum overhead, or you're under charging and you don't even see any profit. So for me, I look at the money that I have in it, and then if I can double it, or most of the time they want you to triple it. But I know some items you cannot do that. So it really based up on that particular item, because I can look at some work boots that have a soft bottom, and I wouldn't go over $99 for them because they don't have the quality of ones that have the slip resistant sole, or they have the leather bottom. I'm not going to charge them the same thing I would with a soft bottom boot. So you have to look at your quality of the item and price it accordingly, as well as looking at your competition and what they're charged, because 9 times out of 10 they're having the same thing. And there's nothing wrong with doing research on them, but do not make their business your business. You never want to seem like you neck and neck with another company, because you are you and they are they. So you price your stuff according to the material and the way that, and really your demographic. If you're in a, like you said, like a Clinton is like a in between. You're gonna have your highs and your lows. That's why I offer a variety of boots, so that you won't seem like you having to compete with somebody that's in a higher bracket, as and vice versa with somebody in the low. They may not want that lower end product. They want a higher end. So I try to keep something for everyone, and make it where it's affordable, as well as we do have third party, like a afterpay. We have afterpay and sizzle. So
Oh,
I give
cool.
people options. Yes. So it's not that you just have to come out of pocket. If you want those $700 boots and you don't have that money right then, you can put it on sizzle and do it monthly. So I try to keep the options open so that anybody can feel like they can come in here and get quality products and that they're going to be happy with.
Absolutely. Now, one thing I did want to talk about, because you talked about you've had a couple of locations, and another mistake I see a lot of young people make is the first spot they see that's open that they can afford, they jump on it. They
Mm-hmm.
don't do anything about the area. They can't
Foot
see,
traffic.
yeah, and even simple things like if there's a bunch of potholes outside, people don't want to drive in it. So
Yes.
talk about the things you have to think about, because I've got a lot of business concepts in here, and some of them want to eventually get to where they have a brick and mortar spot. And I think that's great because it can be very lucrative. But what are some things to think about? Because even if something may cost a little bit more in rent, it could be a much more profitable location.
Yes. So for me, when I started out in Byram, I was inside of my father-in-law shop. So I paid him monthly rent. But because my business was growing, there was a limit to my business. So I had to go seek another location. So the one in Raymond, it had the pros and cons. The pro was that it was in the building was big, but the location wasn't all that lot of foot traffic, because this is a busy highway. You would think people would stop in, but because I didn't have the big marketing tool to lure people in, my foot traffic wasn't as heavy. But now, since I'm in Clinton and I'm in a shopping center, that's the perks of being in a shopping center. People don't just shop with that person. They're looking around to see what else that they can get in one spot, because most people look at one stop shop and they don't have to be going
Yep.
all over the place searching for things. So now that I'm in this area, the foot traffic is more. And because when I left from Raymond, there was a gap in between me having another storefront. I had people constantly trying to come and see me, and I'm like, I am waiting to get another building, because I was supposed to move to Utica, but that didn't work out. The guy never did finish the building. So when this opportunity came with Clinton, I said, well, God, if this is where you want me to be, I'll get it. And that's what happened. So now I tell anyone, negotiate the price. If you're going to buy, not buy, if you're going to rent a spot, there is room for them to negotiate the price. If you know that your budget is $1,000 a month, see if they'll go down to 750 or $800, because you want to give yourself wiggle room in case the sales are slow that month. You don't have to be scrambling to try to figure out how you're going to pay that rent, because you still got a light bill too.
Yeah.
So when you looking at buildings, make sure you can either make double or you have a separate income, because for me, I work a full-time job as well. So
Wow.
even if my foot traffic is not where I want to be, or sales, my regular job is going to pick it up. Now, is that a headache? Yeah, it is. But at the same time, you got to be able to sustain yourself in those trying months, because we do have your low months. Like right now, and going to the end of May, because you got graduation, it's going to pick up. But you're going to have months like June or maybe even July. It may be slow because people are not just purchasing boots, or retail things are not selling as much. But when you have those months like you got school coming up, they're going to be shopping. So you always want to plan ahead for those slow months and be able to sustain yourself. So I would tell anybody, don't just jump off the porch, go get you a storefront, and then you don't have no backup income. Always have you multiple incomes to sustain you through those trying times.
Absolutely. Now, we'd be remiss if, before I get to their question, because I got some really good questions, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about your YouTube channel, because I think that's important. Life with Genia Lee, really cool videos on there. But, I have so many kids, and I know I can speak for all the other teachers that'll say this, where we have kids in high school that say, well, all I'm going to do, I'm just going to be a YouTuber. And it is not exactly how it works. So,
No, no, no.
obviously, and you've gotten I think over 15,000 followers now, which is it's still respectable. But just talk about it's not just let's hold up a camera and just talk. There's a lot of planning. It takes sometimes multiple tries to get things right. So as somebody that's getting into content creation, how difficult is it actually to be successful at that?
Okay, you're gonna have your goods and your bads. And I'm gonna tell you, being a YouTuber, I was so excited because I had got monetized, and then bam, I got hit with a violation saying that they couldn't tell whether I edit my videos. Well, I sent in the video, and to this day, I'm still not monetized back because those watch hours went back to 200, and you have to have 1,000 watch hours to be back monetized. So I would tell anybody, it's good to have it, and you never know how it's gonna go, because I'm big on, you'll never know how far you can go unless you try, but never settle for that's my ultimate goal until it actually happens. Always have more than one basket. Don't put all your eggs, like the old people tell you. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Make sure you're doing multiple things, because I make sure I kind of do videos on all different platforms. I have my TikTok, I have Facebook, even if Facebook, pays a little change. I got a little $30 the other day. So never limit yourself to just say, okay, I'm gonna be a YouTuber. What if that don't work out? Always have you some plan B, C, D, E, F, all the way to Z, so that you don't have to depend on just that one source of income, because you could be like me, have 15,000 followers and not even being monetized. So make sure, if that's what you want to do, you be consistent. You make sure you planning out, where do you want to go, where are you shooting this content, and look at other people that inspire you to see how they're doing. You don't have to invent the wheel. All you have to do is tweak it and make sure it fits to your personality. Never be somebody else, be yourself, because you never know who's looking at you that inspires them to do more. So never limit yourself to just say, I'm just gonna do YouTube. No, look at, I want to be TikTok, I want to do Lemonade. Try all of them. Don't put yourself in a box. Step outside
Absolutely.
the box.
All right. Well, I have some good questions here, and I have all young men in here with me today. And I love
Okay.
this. I love this first question. This is Tyler Myers. He's in 10th grade, one of our football players. And he asked, do you do any custom designs or do you work only with suppliers?
I work with only suppliers. And this the thing, I could do custom with my bootmaker, but when you get into custom items, it can be a headache. And I'm gonna say that coming from someone that used to do clothes and more, because if that person don't want their item, you stuck with it. And even if you were to just get the full amount up front, most people don't want to, because they want to see how it looks once it's done. So you'd have been invested all that money and time into something, or even got someone else to make it, and you're stuck with that product. There are people that specifically do that, but for me, that wouldn't be something that I would be interested in bringing to my people, even though I've been asked to do it. It's, to me, more of a headache than it is a profit. And you got to know your
Uh,
limit.
yeah.
You can't be something to everyone. You got to have a target audience. And if you're going to do customized, do just customize. But if you're going to be looking at, I'm going to be a retailer, and even to bring in my own collection, I have my own collection of boots that has MCD Boots on it, on the bottom. But I knew specifically what design I wanted, and I wasn't, going to look for anybody else's design to put on it.
That's awesome. I love this question. I already know the answer to it, but I think this is cool because anytime somebody's selling clothes, this needs to be the answer. This is Jordan Job. He's in 10th grade, one of our football players, and he asked, "How often do you wear your own products?"
Oh, I try to wear it every day. And matter of fact, the boots that I have on today, is like my everyday boot. Because I would tell anybody, all you gentlemen listening, when you start a business, think about this. You are a walking billboard.
There you
You
go.
won't be somebody is going to stop you everywhere you go and ask you, what do you
There you
got
go.
on? Where did you get that from?
Yep.
Because if no one knows your business, how are you going to sustain? Yeah, you can advertise and this and that, but what better way to advertise than to have it on you where somebody can personally ask you about your merchandise?
Absolutely. And I already knew the answer to that, but I think that's something that needed to be said. Uh,
Yes.
this is Cameron Sutton. He's in 10th grade, and he says, "You said social media catapulted your business. How did you present yourself for it to catapult it?"
So I'm gonna tell you the first video that caught everyone's attention. First black owned boot company. That what brought people eyes to my company and say, wow, I wanna, patronize her. Where are you at? Where can I get them? Like when you have a catchy saying that resonate to people in general, because we know that black owned sometimes can be portrayed as, some people get mad, why you got to put a color on it. It's not about putting a color on it. It's about being a staple in your community to say, I beat
Absolutely.
the odds, and I'm in an industry that's unheard of, not only for black people to have a business in, but a woman. And for me, I take pride in saying I'm a black woman owned business because I'm rare. I know I stand out in a crowd in a hay. I'm the needle in that hay because people don't expect me to be in this industry. And they've even given me a name. They call me the boot lady. So that shows you how much of an impact, you can make, where people are not only making up names for you, but to make sure people know that's the woman that you go to. She's going to make sure you straight. She's going to make sure that she give you the best customer service with the best products that you can receive on the market. And so that's what you want to be. You want to be that household staple.
Yeah, and honestly, being in Mississippi, I'm shocked that nobody got in this market sooner because all these country folks in Mississippi, I mean, every person I know, no matter what color they are, is wearing country stuff. And then what we talked about before we were recording, the history of black cowboys in the United States is lengthy, goes back for hundreds
Yes.
of years. So it is something that's always been there, and and I'll say this on a recording. I say this all the time. Black owned does not mean anti-white, and that is a
Yes.
narrative that needs to end. And you have on your videos customers of all colors. So just because you are a black owned business does not mean you are taking down anybody else. So
Exactly.
I am very vocal about that, and I'll continue to be. And I'm glad you mentioned that as well.
And
I
thank you
like
for
this.
saying that, because so many people have that misconception that I'm only secluded to my race. No, it doesn't mean that. It just signifies that I'm stepping outside the box to say I'm black owned, and I have been put in a box. So now I'm stepping out the box to provide service to any and everyone. Because I had a young man that came from out of he was in Texas, and is it El Paso? Is that's in Texas, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he was up from his visiting his family, and he was like, oh wow, you got the real authentic boots. Like he said, yours got to come from Mexico. And I was like, yes. So, it just goes to show when you know quality, you know quality. It doesn't matter
Absolutely.
what race you are or where you come from. It's the fact that we are celebrating all races. Whether, if I was to go to a Chinese person that was selling, if you got authentic stuff, if you want to say Chinese owned, that's not going to sway me either way to to say I'm not going to patronize you. No, you are uplifting your race to say we are doing great things. Look at me.
Absolutely. I got time for two more. I like this one. This is
Okay.
Edward Flower. He's in our band, and he asked, in your opinion, what is the best way to build rapport with customers?
Being authentic. Be yourself. Always look at it a standpoint. If I'm the customer, how do I want to be treated? And my mom has always instilled in me, treat people as you want to be treated. And as long as you nice to that person, 9 times out of 10 you get it back. Because like I said, you're not gonna run up on a happy go lucky person every time you see them. But if you show people how you treat them, they'll conform and see I'm acting out right. And if not, you still be the bigger person and still show them kindness. So I'm always big up on, and when you come in my store, I'm always say, hey sweetie, hey honey, that's just me. I always want to show people the compassionate side, and not just be, hey, welcome to MCD Boots. I'm gonna always greet you in a matter where it's in a I guess a compassionate way.
That's awesome. And I like this last one. This is Shavaka Page, and he asked, when you started your business, did you think it would go this far, and what plans do you have for the future?
Ooh, that's a good one. No, I did not. Because really, like I said, I started this business looking at my dad and finding him boots, and it ended up where people were asking him where did he get his boots from. And so my dad was like, Jen, I think this your next business adventure. So no, I did not look at this when I first started out as that would be a business, because I was doing business consulting for my father-in-law who has a women boutique. So I really wasn't getting back into entrepreneurship because I was doing shirts, doing customized shirts and stuff. So I really didn't think that that would turn into a business. Now, where I'm headed to next is starting my own purse line with exotic skins. So my next thing is it'll be MCD Boots will have their own purse line with python, shark, eel. Like I'm going all in with exotic skins. So that's the next thing.
Yeah, and even though I don't know anybody that's here with me live is going to need a purse, but some women in our lives may need that, so that should be a great place to go. Now we're
Yeah.
almost out of time, and we thank you so much for taking some time
You're
for us.
welcome.
Before we go, mcdboots.com is your
Mhm.
website. All your social media handles are on there. Real Life with Gina Lee is your YouTube channel. And
Yeah.
tell us where you're located in Clinton if anybody wants to stop by.
Yes, we're at 507 Spring Ridge Road, Clinton, Mississippi. I'm in Suite L, which is upstairs above Utterly Delicious. They do have an elevator if you cannot get, if you don't want to do the stairs to the right side of the building where Jamie's restaurant, there's an elevator right in front of it. So you don't have to take the stairs if you don't want to.
Yeah, really easy to find right off the interstate, and
Yeah.
after you go see her, they have the Popeyes right there too. Now, the last thing before we go, like I mentioned, I have all young men in here with me today, and I'm just blown away at the amount of intelligence that they have. And
Yes.
I'll be the first person to say that resources and opportunities were limited in areas for decades, especially rural areas. But times are changing. There's more opportunities now, but it's so important to see these young men take advantage of those opportunities. So why is it
Yeah.
that we need more successful black men in our communities?
And I'll say to the gentlemen's in there, I will be starting to do intern programs, and I would love for you guys to join my email list, and I will keep y'all updated. Summertime is coming, so that'll be a plan for next year. And most of them are 10th graders, so that'll be perfect for them going into their senior year, to have something up under their belt. They can come
Absolutely.
here, shadow me on a Friday or Saturday or Sunday, and be able to see how I handle customers, and be able to get a grips on how do you handle customers, and how do you complete a transaction, because it's more than just getting a person money. You need to be able to know if the person wants more, or if you can't help them, maybe you can refer them out. So I think that that would be a good opportunity for any of you gentlemen that's looking for an opportunity to learn retail, and learn it on the standpoint of you can have your own business too. And I will even go as to far to show y'all how to start your website and all of that stuff. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so definitely for each one of you guys that's on here, join my email list, and that's going to be my plan for next year. And so that I'll take about 3 gentlemen, and we can do an internship so that y'all can be able to learn, and I will pay you. So it won't be just you wasting, time. I want you to be able to learn how it is to gain a check and be able to learn things at the same time.
Yeah, and we'll pass along that information to our friends at Ridgeland High School, Germantown, and Madison Central as
Yeah.
well. But we thank you so much for joining us, Genia Lee, the owner, founder of MCD Boots, the boot lady herself, all the way from Clinton, Mississippi. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank
today.
you. And y'all have a blessed weekend and be safe out there.
All right, talk to you soon, buddy.
All right. Bye bye.